Now, if you pay any attention to the news, you can tell it's very clear. Something looks like it's about to pop off between Israel and Iran, between Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel and the Ayatollah in Iran. It's the signs are everywhere. My name is Darren Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to provide context, generally speaking, in the war in Ukraine. But this affects Ukraine, and this is potentially going to affect the entire world if they get it wrong. So let's look at this. So Netanyahu, again, is the prime minister of Israel. The Ayatollah Khamenei is the supreme leader of Iran. And Netanyahu is going to be meeting with his war council or whatever tonight. And he's just survived a vote to dissolve the parliament by the minority. And he survived it, but he emerged a little weakened. So the Knesset rejected this bill this afternoon. And so, or well, not this afternoon, this was yesterday. And so today they're looking at maybe assembling some kind of war council to deal with Iran. If you look at RT, Russia Today, exercise increased caution. The U.S. State Department advises citizens in Middle East and North Africa. Like, they're looking at our security alert telling Americans to exercise caution. Something's about to go off. So it looks like there is something there. OSINT Technical posted this. U.S. officials have been told Israel is fully ready to launch an operation into Iran per CBS. Iran may respond by striking U.S. targets in Iraq. How that works, I'll get to in just a little bit. It's all connected, and it's all connected all the way to Russia. So, like, if you watch me regularly because you support Ukraine or you oppose Russia's invasion in Ukraine, I'll connect this by the end of this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. U.S.-Iran nuclear talks stall as tensions escalate. Israel reportedly is ready to strike. Negotiations between the United States and Iran over Tehran's nuclear program have reached a deadlock. So the U.S. and Iran have been negotiating this and negotiating this and negotiating this and they're just drawing it out. The Iranians are just keep drawing it out. Reports indicate that Israel is preparing to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. And you might say, oh, how horrible that they're going to do this. But Iran has also talked regularly about wiping Israel off the map. So there's, you got to look at everything in context. And by the way, I'm not trying to weigh in and say pro-Israel, although I have my own leanings one way or another, or pro. Well, I'm certainly not pro-Iran. I know that there are a lot of people that are anti-Israel because of Gaza and that sort of thing. That's not my point. I'm trying to provide you context so you can understand what's actually happening. I'm not weighing into that kind of debate. In response, the U.S. Embassy in Iraq is evacuating its diplomats, and all American military bases across the Middle East have been placed on high alert. Iran's defense minister has threatened to target U.S. installations in the region if a war breaks out. Meanwhile, U.S. citizens have been advised to leave Bahrain and Kuwait. So, yeah, that's what the situation is right now as I'm talking. This is Radio Free Europe. Iran's foreign ministry announced that the new enrichment site, that they're going to have a new enrichment site, the new enrichment site would be established in a safe zone, and first-generation centrifuges in the Fordo site will be replaced with advanced sixth-generation machines. So they are working toward some kind of nuclear weapon. Like, the lesson to the world has been since 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, like, hey, this wouldn't have happened if you had nukes too, so get your hands on some nukes. And the lesson has been going on with Kim in North Korea saying, trying to blackmail the world because he has nuclear weapons. Okay. The pizza index is spiking. Now, this is kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's kind of not. The pizza index is this idea. Well, let me go back. There's a couple of things like this. So, like, during a hurricane, and I live in the American South where you have hurricanes, there's a thing called the what is it? The Waffle House index. Like, the Waffle House, like, if Waffle Houses are open, this is this like tiny little chain stores that are, about the size of a house that serves fast food breakfast kind of stuff, pancakes and bacon and eggs and that sort of thing. Waffles, right? If they're still open, the damage isn't that terrible. If even Waffle House is closed, then you know that things are really bad. Well, same kind of thing here. The Pentagon Pizza Index is the idea that if lots of pizza orders are being sent to the Pentagon, like, lots of people are staying and overtime, and that's a bad thing. And so you see things like that. Here's the pizza index refers to the sudden trackable increase of takeout food orders, not necessarily of pizza, made from government offices, particularly the Pentagon and the White House in the United States. Before major international incidents unfold, government officials order food from nearby restaurants where they stay late at the office to monitor developing situations such as the possibility of war or a coup, thereby signaling that they are expecting something big to happen. As I understand, this is even tied to like people playing the stock market. They'll watch these kind of things and see like maybe I should buy or sell based on that. Pentagon Pizza Report is showing, when there's spikes in times and that sort of thing. Okay, so again, take it with a grain of salt, but like something's going on. Something's at work. Okay, Igor Shushko posted this. Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear sites to prevent the development of nuclear weapons appear imminent. I think that's right. I think that there's something likely to pop off. Here is the Times of Israel. President Trump is committed to keep Americans safe, both at home and abroad. In keeping with that commitment, we are consistently assessing the appropriate personnel posture of all our embassies. So that this is the U.S. State Department talking about their embassies. Based on our latest analysis, we decided to reduce the footprint of our mission in Iraq, a State Department official told the Times of Israel. That's what's happening. Like, this is reported by the Times of Israel about what U.S. government officials are doing. So if you don't believe the pizza index, like, look at that. Okay. There's more to the story here. Trump was last night at a gala or some kind of musical event or something, Carnegie Center, I think. And this is a reporter from CBS News, senior White House reporter. Well, they're being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, says Trump, and we'll see what happens. Okay, that was Trump talking about reports of U.S. personnel being moved out of the Middle East region. He was asked what would drive the temperature down in the region, and he said of Iran, quote, "They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple," unquote. So it doesn't sound like he's telling Israel to back off. He's saying they can't have a nuclear weapon. So he's at the Kennedy Center for this theater production last night, and that's what he was saying then. Okay, State Department is preparing to evacuate non-essential personnel from U.S. embassies in Iraq, Bahrain, Kuwait, as well as the consul in Erbil, per U.S. official at CNN. Okay, and this is Iran in the red, and this is the waves of what different missiles can reach. It can reach all the way to Israel, and so this is each missile can go further and further. So I mean, it could reach all the way to the farthest parts of Ukraine. They can reach pretty good distances. Okay, Iran plans to respond to any potential Israeli strike with an immediate salvo of hundreds of ballistic missiles targeting Israel proper, per an Iranian official. Now, they did this some time ago. Last year, they did this. One side said one thing, one side did something to the other, and so Iran was answering back with this big salvo of messages, but it was like all scripted and choreographed, where they fired these rockets and then they were all shot down by Western powers, the U.S., Israel, and Britain primarily. With some help from, I think, even the Saudis. But it was all like choreographed, like to make their point on the world stage. Now they can put their grudges behind them because they retaliated. I don't think this is that. I think there's something more than that going on here. Iranian military, this is from the New York Times, Iranian military and government officials have already met to discuss their response to a potential Israeli strike. According to a senior Iranian official, the official said that Tehran had devised a response plan that would involve immediate counterstrike on Israel with hundreds of ballistic missiles. Iranian missile assault against Israel related to the war in Gaza inflicted damage. However, in part because of U.S. assistance. So again, the U.S. and Israel are often tied together in this kind of thing. Today, there was also an Iron Dome battery spotted in the West Bank. That's in Israel. Several Israeli sources indicate that the active movement of air defense systems near strategic sites throughout Israel. So it seems like they're preparing. I mean, I can't predict the future, but it certainly seems like this. Another major escalatory move this morning, the leader of the Iranian-backed Iraqi militia. Now, I know that I just said Iranian-backed Iraqi militia. Okay, so that's because Iraq, who was at war with Iran for like a decade, under Saddam, who was Sunni, now that the Sunnis are out and they've been the de-Baathification took place, now Iraq, which is majority Shia, is actually much more cozy with Iran, which is a kind of a weird thing that we didn't expect to see happening. Just posted a threat of insurgent action against U.S. and allied forces in Iraq if war with Iran were to break out. The U.S. is reportedly evacuating non-essential personnel from Iraq. Okay, so this is a map of Shia and Sunni. So in the green, you see the Shiite, and the Sunni is in the blue. The world's population is majority Sunni. Probably about 3/4 of Muslims around the world are Sunni. But Shia, which is a specific branch of Islam, it goes back to how do you trace from the Prophet Muhammad his successor? Is it his son, or is it an appointed successor? And that's part of the differences. So it's Iran and Iraq, and it used to be Syria. There's a lot less hold over Syria, and it certainly was Lebanon, and it was also Yemen, which the Houthis and that sort of thing. So Iran's kind of a bad actor in the region. It's kind of doing what Russia does around it. Okay, so just to give you some perspective of what's actually happening here with Iran and Israel in context. Okay, this is Iran military, just a channel. We cleared, and I don't think it's actually related. It's just updates on what's going on. It's not, it's followed by Scott Ritter. How about that? We cleared the rat's den. There's nothing left to hide. And so this is Iran clearing the rat, which is Israel, which I thought was fascinating because I remember doing my master's thesis on the Holocaust, and in Germany, the Jews were likened to rats. And so it's the same kind of anti-Semitic thinking here as well. Okay, a bit of an indicator of where Russia actually fits in here. U.S. designated leader of the Iraqi brigades, Abu Allah al-Awali, meets Russian ambassador to discuss repercussions of Zionist aggression on regional security. Yeah, they're kind of tight with the Russians. And if you need some more evidence of that, here is Sternenko has translated this. This is a Russian propagandist talking about it in English.
About us, we watch with enthusiasm. We are in any case supporting Iran. Naturally, we wish defeat for Israel, which is a military political ally of the United States of
Yeah, we wish defeat for Israel, which is a military and political ally of the United States
America.
Of course, Russia should be friends with Iran, should help Iran, supply Iran with technologies.
Any doubt that Russia is on the side of Iran here?
And cooperate in scientific areas, including the nuclear program.
Yeah, and so that's where they're going. Like Russia would be happy to have a nuclear-armed Iran, and that's something that the U.S. definitely does not want to see. Now, in some other news, whoa, when did this happen? I must have missed something. Here's a billboard in Syria when President Trump was making this deal not too long. Syria feels hope again. Wow, Syrian-American alliances, right? So part of this was getting the Russian grip off Syria and the Iranian impact or influence over there, and kind of pushing more of a Saudi regional pull over Syria. So, okay. And then finally, last little bit, Institute for the Study of War, Iran continues to threaten to target U.S. and Israeli assets in the region, likely to deter potential U.S. or Israeli strikes on Iran. I think that's what's going on. So, okay, here we are, and you tell me what you saw here. I mean, I think there's a standoff, and I mean, by the time you watch this, maybe something happened, but I'm trying to give you as much context so that you can understand what's happening. If you're not familiar with me, please consider subscribing. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine and the broader world.